So Google Bard AI was released last week, you've probably heard of it. And yet most users, when they first use it, are extremely disappointed because they probably have already used ChatGPT. Yet head of Bard, Sissy Shao, claims this is deliberate.
This is a powerful technology. We want to make sure that we understand, how to bring it in a responsible way.
As you can see, she says it's a deliberate experiment from Google.
Bard is an early experiment.
And unlike many others that aren't convinced by what she says, actually, I think she might be right.
We need to do that in a safe and responsible way with a new technology like this, and that's how we're doing it.
And this video is going to enlighten you as to why I think that Bard may win the AI race against ChatGPT. And the way I'm going to do this is just to break this up into 3 parts. And as I go through these parts, I'm also going to share with you a few tricks that I've learned about Bard since I've been using it. But the first part I'm going to split up is what's its potential. Secondly, I'm going to look at how can you use it? And finally, why people won't get it yet, but they will get it eventually. So let's take the first part, its potential. We know that AI has loads of potential. This is just the beginning of what AI is going to be able to do for the internet in coming years ahead. The race has just begun. So what is Google Bard and what is its potential? So to help explain it, you need to think of a bedtime story like one of Aesop's fables, The Hare and the Tortoise. Now Google Bard in effect is like the tortoise. It appears a bit slow, it's steady, it works reasonably well, but it's nothing like the ChatGPT that got shot out its blocks and got miles ahead in just the last few months since November. Yet Google Bard has been developed for many years. In fact, it's based on Lambda, and Lambda was put together several years ago. And Lambda is a language model for dialogue application that's been slowly developed over many years. But notice the word slowly. And that's the key here, is just realizing actually Google has a lot more that it hasn't released yet. It's saying that it's being experimental with it. It's saying that it's holding it back. Now you can read into that. Is that the case? It's saying it's trying to be responsible for AI. And maybe it wouldn't even put it out in public if it wasn't for the success of ChatGPT recently, which is very hair-like. It's getting all the headlines. Everyone loves ChatGPT, including myself. It's a very useful and powerful tool. But the fact is they're both very different animals. They both have different strengths. And whereas everyone's piling on to explaining how ChatGPT has incredible strengths, it could be quite easy to miss some of those great strengths that Bard has if you know where to look. But for now, let's just keep this basic. So Google Bard is proving to be a bit like the tortoise. ChatGPT, which is owned by Bing now, is proving to be like the hare. But we know the outcome. We know eventually how it goes when it gets to the finishing line.
The technology is ready, people are excited, people want to engage and discuss and learn what this technology does. At the same time, a lot of the work is not just in the LLM itself, but in all the safeguards and safety protections and that we put in place to get to the point where we feel comfortable enough to put an experiment to the world.
In effect, what the head of Bard is saying is they've turned down the wick before they released it. And now they're just going to steadily, progressively let it out. As it learns more, you notice there's a lot of integration because as something gets answered, it has variations as well. So unlike ChatGPT, you get a much faster answer. Unlike ChatGPT, you get 3 answers immediately. Unlike ChatGPT, it is actually based on current information today. And that's what we're going to show you now. 3 powerful things that Bard can do that ChatGPT can't. So that brings us on to our second part. Let's now see how to use it. So how do you know if your latest web page is spidered on Google's database? Well, it's pretty easy. You can explore a live URL. So this was a blog that I produced just last week, and that's now gone live. So has Google even spidered it yet? How do I know it's in Google's database? Well, I can just find out. I can just ask that question. Now, if I do this to ChatGPT, it doesn't know anything that's newer than 2 years old. If I go to Bard, just log into Bard, sure, I can help you with that. Here are some ways in which you can improve SEO on your page. And then it suggests some things I can do. And this is the bit here. In addition to these general SEO tips, there are some specific things you can do to improve the SEO of your page about Google Business Profile. So it does know about this page. And it's now looked at that page. It's saying it thinks I could use the Google Business Profile API, so I could integrate that into it. Also, get verified. You have included one image on your page, which is good. However, you could add more images. I could just put this, let me know ways in which I can improve that page. So let me know ways in which I can improve its SEO. And I put that same page. Here's some ways in which you can improve it. So it speaks about targeting keywords, putting tags on, submitting it to a sitemap, which I don't think I've actually done on this page yet, which is why I was experimenting with it. Creating high backlinks, we know that, and content, and so on. So that's quite useful. Again, various drafts. Sometimes you might just want to see what other things they put forward and pick the best one, and then give it a thumbs up. And of course, you've then got links as well. So this is the source it's gone from, building the dream site and so on. So just worth bearing in mind that you'll get different answers as well across the top here, which again is something that ChatGPT doesn't do. So can it compete against Bing, ChatGPT? Yes, it can at the moment, but they do have these different strengths. For example, ChatGPT is amazing at remembering the context of the previous conversations. Google Bard doesn't, but Google Bard is a lot quicker. It gives multiple answers and works on a live database of pretty much anything that's out there today. So if it's in the news today, then Google Bard knows it, but ChatGPT is based on old data. Let me show you that as an example. So if I go to, say, who performed at the Super Bowl this year? So that'd be quite good. So let's put to Bard. So I think it's Rihanna. So let's try that. Who performed at the Super Bowl? And let's see what it says. So it's got a source of Wikipedia. Rihanna performed at the Super Bowl. There you go. And it even gives a date. Now, if I go to ChatGPT, I think you know the results of this, and this is the difference. And this is, I'm sorry, but as my knowledge is only cut off 2021, you see, so I can only go back to a previous year or 2 years ago. So that's one of the things that Bard has and is continuing to grow on. And that's going to give it that slow, steady space forward as the hare and tortoise continues. So before we go any further, are you confident that Google Bard is going to eventually win the AI race against ChatGPT and maybe others? Well, let me know in the comments below what you think. Even just a yes or no would be interesting. So what about keywords for local business? Well, again, they're both good, but Bard has an amazing extra benefit because it has all the data of Google search terms that you won't get on ChatGPT. Bearing in mind that 93% of searches are done on Google, Bing only has a very limited data it can offer. So let me give you an example here on Bard. So I put, can you give me 10 keywords relating to web design in Bournemouth and include the search volume? And that's where I think this is going to be useful. So there you go. So these are keywords I should be going for my local web design. But you notice I even get an idea of which ones are more important than others. It's live data. And there you go, you see the search volumes are then into hundreds of thousands. So again, it's kind of all relative. It makes sense. It shows you some of the keywords. These are perhaps longer tail keywords you could aim for, but a lot of search traffic. Of course, Bing doesn't have the same data that Google has. So that's another big advantage. And of course, if ever you need to find out more information, you can either refresh it to get new responses. You can also Google it. So if I just Google that, 10 keywords related to web design, just Google that, and it'll just give you then some Google results as well. So ultimately, there's lots of ways in which this just works differently, but I think people don't get it yet, but give it time, and I think it'll make a lot more sense. So although Bard appears to be disappointing initially compared to ChatGPT, I believe the race has only just started, the AI race, which is why against all odds, I predicted a winner last month on this video. So find out what I predicted and why I predicted it based on the ChatGPT versus Bard video right there. I'll see you on that video.